This is HOA Storytime Central. She said witnesses. I said timestamps. I am not the one you bluff, I said, but Donna Pierce was already shouting over me. Karen yelled that she would post a notice on my door and she would make sure people saw it. She waved a laminated guideline sheet in my face without letting me read a single word, her cheap plastic badge glinting under the Nevada sun. I had filed a polite dispute about a package theft accusation the day before, and now here she was on my driveway in Stonegate Reserve with a portable printer balanced on the hood of her sedan, spitting out a violation notice in real time. This is Stonegate Reserve Homeowners Association, Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am a data analyst who keeps receipts for everything. That habit was about to save my life. Donna Pierce is the Landscape Committee Chair, which in this HOA means she has keys to the clubhouse, the mailbox cluster area, and the storage closets where the association keeps supplies. She also has a reputation for being everywhere at once, documenting everything, and making your life hell if you cross her. Her catchphrase is, "I am documenting everything," and she means it. The problem is, she is also documenting things that never happened and erasing things that did. The accusation was simple. Someone had opened packages in the mailbox cluster area 2 days ago, and a stack of HOA supply gift cards was missing. No readable text on the cards, just the logo and magnetic strips. Donna claimed the doorbell camera footage from a nearby unit showed my address on a torn mailer, and she was holding me responsible for the theft and the resulting chaos. She had sent me a formal notice demanding I pay a $200 accusation fee and attend a hearing, or she would place a lien on my property. I filed a dispute through the online portal the same day, writing a calm, polite explanation that I was at work during the theft window and had my own doorbell camera footage to prove it. I attached timestamps and a screenshot of my work badge scan log. The next morning, Donna showed up with the portable printer. "I need you to sign this acknowledgement," she said, shoving a clipboard at me. The printer was still warm, the ink barely dry on the violation notice. "I am documenting everything," she added, pulling out her phone and angling it at my face. I kept my hands at my sides and my voice level. "I already filed a dispute," I said. "I have proof I was not here." She cut me off. "Your dispute was never received. I checked the portal this morning. There is no record of it." That was the first goalpost move, and I felt my chest tighten. I pulled out my phone and opened my email, scrolling to the confirmation receipt from the portal. I held it up. I have the confirmation email right here. Timestamp, submission number, everything. Donna barely glanced at it. "That does not prove it was processed. The system has been glitchy. You will need to resubmit at the office, and in the meantime, this notice stands." She tapped the clipboard. "Sign it, or I escalate." I did not sign. I told her I would go to the management office that afternoon and resubmit in person. She smiled, a tight, cold smile, and said she would be documenting my refusal to cooperate. Then she got in her car, slammed the door, and drove off, leaving me standing in my driveway with my pulse hammering in my ears. The stakes were real. Donna had made it clear in her notice that if the accusation stuck, she would file a police report for theft, and my insurance rates would spike, even if the report went nowhere. I work in data, and my background check is part of my job security. A theft accusation on record, even a false one, could cost me my career. I could not let this slide. I drove to the Stonegate Reserve Management Office that afternoon, a small suite in a strip mall off East Tropicana. The office manager, a tired-looking woman named Brenda, pulled up the portal on her desktop and frowned. "There is no dispute here," she said. Are you sure you submitted it? I showed her my phone. Confirmation email. Submission ID. Timestamp. She squinted at the screen, then back at her monitor. That is strange. Let me check the archive. She clicked around for a minute, then shook her head. It is not in the archive either. It is like it was deleted. I felt the bottom drop out of my stomach. Can that happen? Brenda hesitated. Technically, no. But if someone with admin access went in and manually removed it. She trailed off, her eyes flicking toward the door. I will resubmit it for you right now. And I will make a note that this is a duplicate due to a system issue. I thanked her and left, but the damage was done. Donna had covered her tracks, and now I was on the defensive. I needed proof, and I needed it fast. The clubhouse event, a community mixer, was starting in less than an hour, and Donna had made it clear she planned to use the event to maximize my humiliation. She had already told half the neighborhood I was a thief. When I got home, I found a neighbor waiting on my porch. His name was Greg, and he lived 3 units down. He looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight from foot to foot. "Hey man," he said, "I need to talk to you." Donna came by this morning. She asked me to sign a complaint form about the package theft. She said you were caught on camera and she needed neighbor statements to make it official. I felt my jaw clench. "Did you sign it?" He nodded, looking miserable. She was really pushy. She said it was just a formality, that the footage was clear, and if I did not sign, she would put me on her list for the next violation sweep. I am sorry, man. I did not know what else to do. I took a breath. It is okay. But I need you to know I did not steal anything. I was at work. I have proof. Greg grimaced. She showed me a photo on her phone. It looked like a doorbell clip with a package being opened, and she said the address label was yours. But the photo was blurry. I could not read anything on it. That was the first clue prop, a photo of a stash bin in a restricted area. I asked Greg if he remembered anything else. He thought for a moment, then nodded. She had a shopping bag with her. It was sitting in her car. I saw it when she leaned in to grab the clipboard. It had the HOA logo on it, but it looked full of random stuff, envelopes, maybe some cards. I did not think much of it at the time. I asked Greg if he would be willing to come to the clubhouse event and back me up if I needed a witness. He hesitated, then agreed. "I owe you that much," he said. The community mixer started at 6. I arrived early and found Donna already holding court near the entrance, her laminated guideline sheet in one hand and her phone in the other. She was talking to a small group of neighbors, her voice loud enough to carry across the courtyard. "Some people think the rules do not apply to them," she was saying. "But I am documenting everything, and the association will take action." I walked past her without stopping, heading for the clubhouse entrance. She stepped in front of me, blocking the door. "Excuse me," she said. "This event is for residents in good standing. You are currently under investigation for theft. I do not think it is appropriate for you to be here." I kept my voice calm. I am a resident in good standing. I filed a dispute, and I have proof I did not commit any theft. If you want to bar me from a community event, you will need to do it officially, in writing, with board approval. She pulled out her phone and started recording. "I am documenting this refusal to comply," she said. "You are creating a hostile environment." Greg stepped forward from the crowd. "Hey Donna," he said. "I signed that complaint form you gave me this morning, but I want to retract it. You told me the footage was clear, but when I asked to see it again, you would not show me. That does not sit right." Donna whirled on him, her face going red. "You signed a legal document. You cannot just take it back. Greg shrugged. I can if I was lied to. Another neighbor, a woman named Carla, spoke up. She had been standing off to the side, arms crossed. I heard you talking to the management office this morning, Donna. You told Brenda you were neutral and just enforcing the rules. But then I saw you at the mailbox cluster yesterday with a huge keyring going through the storage closet. You were not neutral. You were digging for something. Donna's smile vanished. I was conducting an inventory. That is part of my role. Carla raised an eyebrow. At 7 in the morning? Alone? Without logging it? Donna ignored her and turned back to me. If you do not leave right now, I will call security. I pulled out my phone and opened my work badge scan log. I held it up so the crowd could see. This is my badge log from 2 days ago. I scanned in at 8:15 in the morning and did not leave until 6:30 in the evening. The theft happened at 10:45. I was at work. I have the timestamps, and I have the office security footage if you want it. Donna barely looked at it. That proves nothing. You could have had someone else do it. That was the second goalpost move, and I felt the anger rising in my chest. But I kept my voice steady. Then show me the doorbell footage. If it is as clear as you say, let everyone here see it. She hesitated, just for a second, and that was all I needed. She does not have it, Carla said. Because it does not show what she says it shows. Donna pulled out a folded piece of paper from her pocket and slammed it on a nearby table using a cheap plastic stamp she had clipped to her badge lanyard. She stamped the paper like a judge banging a gavel, the sound sharp and theatrical. This is official HOA business, she said. I am authorized to enforce these rules, and I will not be questioned by residents who think they are above the law. I turned to the crowd. She is lying, and I can prove it. But I need access to the storage closet, the one where the HOA keeps supplies, because I think she has been taking things and blaming other people. Donna laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. You are not getting access to anything. That closet is restricted. Greg stepped forward again. I will get you in. I used to volunteer for the social committee. I still have a key. Donna lunged toward him, but Carla stepped between them. Back off, Donna. You are done. We walked to the storage closet, a small room off the main clubhouse hallway. Greg unlocked the door, and I stepped inside with my phone camera running. The room was packed with shelves of supplies, paper goods, cleaning products, event decorations, and a filing cabinet in the corner. On the top shelf, half hidden behind a box of plastic cups, was a clear plastic bin with a lid. I pulled it down and opened it. Inside were opened envelopes, torn mailers, and a stack of HOA supply gift cards. The same cards that had been reported stolen. There were also a few personal items, a phone charger, a small Bluetooth speaker, and a pair of sunglasses. I held up the bin and turned to Donna, who had followed us into the hallway. Care to explain this? Her face went white, then red. That is not mine. Someone must have planted it. Carla pulled out her own phone. I am recording this. Everyone here is a witness. I reached into the bin and pulled out a receipt with a return slip stapled to it. The slip was folded, so the text was hidden, but the date stamp was visible, 2 days ago, the same day as the theft. I held it up. This receipt is from a return you made at a hardware store. The timestamp is 10:30 in the morning, right before the package theft, and it is in your handwriting. Donna grabbed for the receipt, but I stepped back. I am documenting everything, I said, echoing her own words. And I am keeping this as evidence. She turned and stormed out of the clubhouse, shoving past neighbors who were now openly staring. I heard her car door slam a minute later, and then the screech of tires as she peeled out of the parking lot. Greg looked at me, eyes wide. Holy hell, man. She was stealing from the HOA and framing you? I nodded, and she edited the portal to delete my dispute so she could move forward with the accusation before anyone could stop her. But she made a mistake. She left the stash where someone could find it. If you are enjoying this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more HOA drama where the receipts always win. Carla crossed her arms. So what now? I pulled out my phone. Now I call the police and file a report. And then I call an attorney. Because Donna just committed theft, fraud, and harassment, and I am not letting her walk away from this. The police arrived 30 minutes later, a single patrol officer who took statements and photographs. He was polite but skeptical until I showed him the stash bin, the receipt, and the access log from the storage closet that Greg had pulled from the filing cabinet. The log showed Donna had entered the closet 4 times in the past week, always early in the morning, always alone. The last entry was the morning of the theft, at 7:15. The officer raised an eyebrow. This is pretty damning. I will file a report and forward it to the HOA management company. You should also contact them directly and request a formal investigation. I thanked him and watched him leave, then turned to Greg and Carla. I owe you both. Carla waved me off. She has been pulling this crap for years. Someone needed to stop her. The next morning, I received a call from Brenda at the management office. She sounded rattled. I just got off the phone with the board president. They are requesting an emergency meeting to review the evidence you collected. Donna has been placed on administrative leave, and her access to all HOA facilities has been suspended. They also want to talk to you about the portal issue. It looks like she used her admin credentials to delete your dispute. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. What about the accusation against me? It has been dropped. Completely. And the board is considering a formal apology. Brenda paused. I am sorry this happened. We should have caught it sooner. I thanked her and hung up, then sat down at my kitchen table with my laptop. I had one more move to make, and it was going to be the most satisfying. I opened my email and drafted a message to the towing company that Donna had threatened to call on me twice during the conflict. The company had a contract with Stonegate Reserve, and I had saved screenshots of Donna's texts where she had tried to impersonate an HOA dispatcher and authorize a tow on my vehicle without proper documentation. I attached the screenshots along with a copy of the police report and the access log, and sent it with a polite note explaining that Donna Pierce was no longer authorized to make calls on behalf of the HOA, and that any future requests from her should be verified with the board president directly. The towing company replied within an hour. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We have flagged her account and will require written authorization for all future tow requests from Stonegate Reserve. We apologize for any inconvenience. That was the vendor refusal, and it felt like a small, sweet victory. 2 days later, the emergency board meeting took place. I was invited to attend and present my evidence. The board president, a retired engineer named Tom, listened carefully as I walked through the timeline: the theft accusation, the deleted dispute, the stash bin, the access log, the vendor intimidation, and Donna's repeated lies about being neutral. I showed them the receipt and return slip, the photo of the stash bin, and the recordings from the clubhouse confrontation. I also brought Greg and Carla as witnesses. Tom looked grim. This is unacceptable. Donna has violated multiple sections of our bylaws, and she has exposed the association to legal liability. He turned to the other board members. I am recommending immediate termination of her committee role, a formal ban from all HOA facilities, and a referral to our attorney for possible legal action. One of the board members, an older woman named Janet, raised her hand. What about the victims? The residents she framed or pressured? I spoke up. I want a written policy change. The HOA must accept video evidence under a written procedure, and any future accusations must be investigated by an independent third party, not by the accuser. I also want a formal apology on the record. Tom nodded. Agreed. We will draft the policy this week and circulate it for approval. And I will personally deliver the apology letter. The board voted unanimously to terminate Donna's rule, ban her from HOA property, and implement the new evidence policy. As I left the meeting, Janet stopped me in the hallway. Thank you for standing up to her. She has been a bully for years, and no one had the guts to call her out. I nodded. Someone had to. The fallout continued over the next few days. Donna tried to fight back, sending a series of increasingly unhinged emails to the board and the management office, claiming she was being framed and that I had planted the stash bin. But no one believed her. The access log was clear, the receipt was in her handwriting, and multiple witnesses had seen her behavior at the clubhouse. She also tried to show up at the management office to demand a hearing, but Brenda refused to let her in and threatened to call the police if she did not leave. The funny karma moment came 3 days later. Donna called the towing company directly, trying to authorize a tow on my car again, this time claiming I was parked in a fire lane. The tow driver, a guy named Mike who I had spoken to earlier, arrived at Stonegate Reserve, saw my car parked legally in my assigned spot, and called Donna back. I heard about it later from Greg, who was standing near the mailbox cluster when it happened. Mike had put Donna on speakerphone, and the entire conversation was audible. Ma'am, I need written authorization from the board president before I can tow this vehicle. Do you have that? Donna's voice was shrill. I am the landscape committee chair. I have authority. Mike sighed. Not according to the note I got from the board. You are banned from making tow requests. If you call again without proper authorization, I will report you for harassment. Donna hung up, and Mike drove away. Greg said she stood in the parking lot for a full minute, staring at her phone, before getting in her car and leaving. It was the last time anyone saw her at Stonegate Reserve. The final humiliation moment came at the community pool gate 2 weeks later. I was heading to the pool for a swim when I saw Donna standing at the gate, trying to use her key card. The card reader blinked red, and the gate stayed locked. She swiped it again. Red. Again. Red. I walked up behind her, and she turned, her face a mask of fury. This is your fault, she hissed. You ruined everything. I kept my voice calm. No, Donna. You ruined everything when you stole from the HOA and tried to frame me. The access log proved it. You had the keys. You had the access. And you got caught. She opened her mouth to argue, but before she could speak, Tom appeared from the other side of the gate. He had been checking the pool equipment and had heard the commotion. Donna, he said, your access has been revoked. You are not allowed on HOA property. If you do not leave right now, I will call the police. Donna glared at him, then at me. I can fine you daily until you give up, she said, repeating her earlier threat. Tom shook his head. You cannot fine anyone, Donna. You are not part of the HOA anymore, and if you try, We will file a restraining order." I pulled out my phone and opened the photo of the stash bin. I held it up so she could see it. "The access log is read out loud and it points away from me," I said. "It points directly at you. 4 entries, all early morning, all unsupervised. And the last one matches the time of the theft. You lost, Donna. Go home." She stared at the photo for a long moment, her face crumbling, then turned and walked away. I watched her cross the parking lot, get in her car, and drive off. She never came back. The aftermath was swift. The HOA implemented the new evidence policy within 2 weeks, requiring all accusations to be supported by video or photographic evidence and reviewed by an independent investigator. The management office also added a new layer of security to the portal, requiring 2-factor authentication for any admin-level changes. Brenda apologized to me personally and offered to waive my HOA fees for 3 months as compensation for the stress and harassment. I declined the fee waiver but accepted a written apology from the board. The letter arrived a week later, signed by Tom and all the board members, acknowledging that the accusation was false and that I had been treated unfairly. It also included a formal notation in my HOA file clearing my record. The vendor consequences kept rolling in. The towing company sent a formal letter to the board stating that they would no longer accept verbal authorization from any committee chair and would require written approval for all tow requests. The security vendor that monitored the gate access also updated their procedures, requiring photo ID verification for any access changes. And the management company implemented a new policy requiring quarterly audits of all storage areas and restricted facilities. Donna tried to appeal the board's decision, hiring an attorney and threatening to sue for wrongful termination. But her attorney dropped her as a client after reviewing the evidence. The access log, the stash bin, the receipt, the witness statements, and the recordings were too damning. She had no case. A month later, I ran into Carla at the mailbox cluster. She was holding a package and grinning. "Did you hear?" Donna moved out. She sold her unit and left the state. I raised an eyebrow. Where did she go? Carla shrugged. No idea. But good riddance. The neighborhood has been a lot quieter without her. I nodded. It really has. Greg joined us a minute later, holding his own mail. He clapped me on the shoulder. "You are a legend, man. Everyone is talking about how you took her down with a storage closet audit and a receipt. It is like something out of a movie." I laughed. It was not that dramatic. I just kept records and followed the rules. Carla smirked and humiliated her in front of the entire neighborhood. Do not sell yourself short. The new landscape committee chair, a soft-spoken engineer named David, introduced himself to me a few weeks later. He stopped by my unit to apologize on behalf of the committee and to assure me that the new leadership would be transparent and fair. He also mentioned that the committee was implementing a new inventory system for the storage areas, with digital logs and monthly audits, to prevent future theft or misuse. I thanked him and wished him luck. The neighborhood felt different now, lighter somehow, as if a weight had been lifted. Residents were more willing to speak up, and the board was more responsive. The culture of fear that Donna had created was slowly dissolving. I kept the evidence binder, though, just in case. It sat on a shelf in my home office, a thick black binder with tabs for each piece of evidence: the access log, the receipt, the stash bin photos, the witness statements, the recordings, and the police report. I never needed it again, but it was a reminder that the truth, when documented properly, is a powerful weapon. One evening, I was sitting on my patio, watching the sun set over the desert, when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Tom, the board president. "Just wanted to let you know, the HOA attorney reviewed the evidence you provided and recommended we file a formal complaint with the state licensing board." Donna had been claiming she was a licensed property manager, but she was not. "The board is moving forward with the complaint. Thought you should know." I smiled and typed back a quick thank you. It was not just about the theft anymore, it was about accountability. Donna had lied, stolen, and abused her authority for years, and now she was facing real consequences. The system, slow and frustrating as it was, had finally worked. A few months later, I received a letter from the state licensing board. Donna Pierce had been fined and banned from serving in any HOA leadership role in Nevada for 5 years. The letter included a summary of the findings: theft of HOA property, falsification of records, harassment of residents, and fraudulent claims of professional credentials. It was a complete vindication. I framed the letter and hung it in my office, right next to the evidence binder. It was a small, petty victory, but it felt good. The neighborhood settled into a new rhythm. The new board was more transparent, the new committee chairs were more approachable, and the residents were more engaged. The fear of arbitrary enforcement was gone, replaced by a sense of community and fairness. I started attending board meetings regularly, not because I had to, but because I wanted to make sure the new policies were working. And they were. The video evidence policy was used twice in the first 6 months, both times to resolve disputes quickly and fairly. The storage audit system caught a minor inventory discrepancy early, preventing a larger problem. The vendor authorization policy stopped 2 attempted tow scams before they could escalate. The system was working because people were paying attention. 1 year later, I ran into Greg and Carla at the annual HOA barbecue. We stood near the grill, eating burgers and talking about nothing in particular. Eventually, Carla brought up Donna. "Do you ever think about her?" I shrugged. "Not really. She made her choices, and she paid for them. I am just glad it is over." Greg raised his beer. To the storage closet audit. The most boring superhero origin story ever. We laughed, and I clinked my soda can against his bottle. To keeping receipts. Carla grinned. And to never bluffing a data analyst. The sun was setting again, painting the desert sky in shades of orange and pink. The neighborhood was quiet, the way it should be. No drama, no threats, no stolen packages, just a community trying to coexist, with rules that applied to everyone, and consequences that mattered. I looked around at the faces of my neighbors, people I had lived next to, but never really known until Donna forced us all to choose a side. We had chosen the truth, and the truth had won. It was not a perfect ending, but it was a fair one, and that was enough. I hope your property line stays drama-free.